Sit down. Sit down.
Yeah, everyone make themselves at home. We are very happy you were all able to join us today to welcome His Holiness and to welcome His Holiness home.
This one. Oh, yeah. And third day, and did no. Yeah. Brothers and sisters, I am extremely happy be here at this nice place once more, and particularly, I think, in spite of a little bit of a remote distance, it's a quite big gathering people to come here. So I am very, very happy. So first of all, I would like to express my greetings to you. So here, the surrounding many trees and fresh air seems very nice. So under such circumstances, I think the human being who gathered here, also I think in our mind, some kind of, I think, freshness. Mainly, I think freshness due to some kind of, I think, spiritual feeling. So that is something good, something useful. So I think the further strengthening about that is the spiritual freshness. Suppose we are going to, discuss something about spiritual values, and then at the end, I am going to give you some Buddhist teaching, mainly the cultivate of the altruistic mind, and perhaps some few mantras oral transmission. It's okay. So I think it will take perhaps 1.5 hours. So not long, not too long. Okay. Enter there and Marjake actually stepped it to she does an Marjake you do the Nuligal de Naur Shas.
Here, I've been listening to the sound of pico, and this reminded me of my time in Nobulinga in Lhasa in Tibet. So this is before 35 years.
And it's some music done to name. There was a day, as a lollia, she Seru to Shadi already, Motopic Zagachimina, or Des Simbachini, Taramari.
In our minds, often the thoughts of the past occur, in fact, quite vividly sometimes, as if they are very real. But if we were to examine their existence now, they are actually just memories.
aya nga ranzo tuzu manguchi maungbe jungju kwali ya sanglo khwa degi yare Drayang debe nyamnyong shilishani ene zodan debe nyamnyong shilishani ene maungbe charkun nazo chi ene loli ya ene tin number of shadengi chi chegi yare peke ngodo zaga chibu ina minduwa
Just as we reflect upon our past experiences, we also spend quite a lot of time thinking about future, preoccupied by anticipations, hopes, fears, and so on. And many of these anticipations and thoughts about future are in fact based on our past experiences. And this, in a way, also seem to be quite real. But again, just like the past experiences, if we were to examine what future events are, they are again mere anticipations, something in the mind. So these are in reality occurrences in mind, in our conception and imagination.
And Tadawas is some Tabinaya, could
Yet, even if we were to think about present moment, what exactly is the present? Again, there isn't anything which is absolutely present. There is nothing which is absolute, because present is nothing other than the momentarily existing phenomenon, the momentarily flowing event, a sequence of events. So all these thoughts about past experiences, anticipations of future, the present experiences, all of these occur within the stream of our mind, a stream of consciousness, and it's within this stream of consciousness these thoughts occur.
So today you say Namasanje Bechugi, Nizu, no you need to did the Shaglis was the way, and Dorje Tamje Medawa race, Gaji Jigdu race. Then short chicken, any Nuju government Tamja law, any similar Dane, Shaggy. So Dalai, any the Shagata, any Medawa Chani, Rigi, any or Nunsi, that I with Shen Tamja law, any the now 70 Dungy some race, 70 Dungy to do a race, 70 Chana some mother, any 70 Dungy Tada to do your marriage, Chenny, the Shashik delivery. Then they said the Yokoya with Jumzendi, any Tokwa Wangi, Taksam Shi, Shamatuna, any 70 Dungy thing, the Shakoya Chevi. Diana Basaji between the Jiggy Tane, any Tokwa Taksam Shi, Churchy. Talk about Tarzan, you have a mobile shot to be already. This shot to be enough, and simply don't need to do it, several melody. Simply talk about it, simply thousand, in a simply don't need to you who marries or those in the city.
Given this fact of reality, in Buddhism we find that the nature of reality is explained in terms of all phenomena as being transient. All things and events exist momentarily, changing from one event to another event, from one instance to another instance. There is nothing which is permanent or eternal. Similarly, Buddhism, in the Buddhist teachings, there is also an understanding of the nature of reality in terms of its intimate relationship with the mind or our concept. And because of this fact, one understanding of this intimate relationship between mind and reality is taken to quite an extreme standpoint, where in fact the external reality of the physical world is denied and everything is seen ultimately as mere projections of the mind. However, there is another interpretation, understanding of this intimate relationship between mind and reality, where there is no denial of the reality of the external world. However, external world is not perceived or not conceived as an independent entity, something which is independent of the mind of sentient beings.
And then, that Tamje, any that Dorje Tamje law, any gauging me ranking, the Judra ranking chat the Ding Duyadi, any round to be two, round to be any two gauging Nivalia, Jig Duyadi, any Jigbe King, Yan Savachi, Chan, D1 to Chumare. Condition chores na the keji jiadi jibu chinju dul tabamaba ran keji gu any rani keji nival medu jibu shijendo ran keji du kore to the rest today by this and ju shawan chen.
And this transient nature of all phenomena should not be understood in terms of a nature where first things and events exist, and then a secondary external cause or condition comes into interaction with the things and then causes its disintegration or cessation. It's not in that manner that the fundamental sort of transient nature of reality is understood. Rather, they are understood in terms of as if within the causal mechanism which give rise to things and events, within that mechanism is an inbuilt kind of mechanism, which in fact is the cause, the very factor that causes its cessation and disintegration. And because of that, it is understood that the very cause and conditions which give rise to an occurrence of an event is in fact the very condition and cause that causes its disintegration and cessation. And because of that, in Buddhism, all things and events are explained as if they are other-powered, as if lacking autonomous power or self-control.
Jenny, Casati, or that did Jenny, Dui Shawan, that Julia, any Juice, that Julia, not so much. Rangan Devu, Tunega and Shilia, any Gigangi Juchida, Rangan Devuti, any Tunegi Kendo Medungi, any Rachi, Kadachi.
So within this stream of causal sequences or causal events, there are principally two types. One which give rise to consequences which are in the nature of suffering, undesirable, and so on. And then there is the other type of causal sequences which give rise to a more positive and desirable consequences.
Jazanga, any Devuti, Dui, Shawan, and China Yon Indu, any Kazul Pugay, Devu Kazak catch him, but Julia catch him with Cherry.
So, since results or fruits are very much dependent upon their causes and conditions, as so much the precious the result or the consequence is, the greater the preciousness of the causes and its conditions.
The day by you do any Chingmobota Nansen Chana, that Didugi, Nature, the Tana, sometime you do any Nansen the catchable cherry or a channing. That's some of the subject that the catchable is in share.
Because of such a philosophical outlook, Buddhist teachings give priority to paying attention to the internal causes and conditions, the causes and conditions of the mental world, in contrast to the causes and conditions of the physical world, because the mental world, the causal mechanism within the mental world, has a greater effectiveness or impact upon the experiences of the individual.
그렇게 해서 그런 거랑서 그런 chance 대변 차샤나 매 몽구지다 그런 튕긴 좀 타주 요래 그런데 튕긴 좀 부샤 요래디 이내지 더동지 가서 그게 셈나로 뭐쯤부지 용되기도 봐 아니 친구부 다 친구부 가랑서 변하지 야게 따니 변아 지글레 변하다 지글레 줄이 자스세니 야지 바 폐제로 따니 용야디 미유 가르슬럼나 침배 된다 봐 레디 뭐부 치마를 침배디 침배지 때도 그래 봤을럼나 유뭐부 다 유뭐부 뭐네 아니 일 침배지 때도야 패신 배버리
We can take the example of the majority of the people who have gathered here, the members of the audience. One could say that generally speaking, most of you enjoy a life where there is a degree of material affluence, the aggregation of many of the material facilities that are necessary for comforts of life. However, if you, each and every individual, examine your own state of mind, you would feel as if there is still a sense of inadequacy, a lack of contentment, something missing, a sense of lack. And we try to fill this sense of lack, for example, like acquiring more and more material possessions, trying to multiply the 10 into 100 and 100 into thousands and so on. And the very objective, the ultimate objective of doing so is to gain a sense of satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment. However, I do not think that these material conditions or material facilities or this multiplication alone can really provide this sense of satisfaction or fulfillment that we are seeking. And on top of that, if you also lack a non-material factor, a non-material facility, which otherwise could have provided a certain sense of fulfillment, then the situation you find yourself in is such where, given the complexity of modern existence, you have to face so many causes and conditions, so many situations, so your life requires so many multiplicity of so many conditions, and inherent within this complexity is a seed for frustration, because you always find that something is wrong, something is not working out, and these sequences of frustrations then build up within you a real sense of inadequacy and lack of fulfillment.
자자가 진짜 이번 인도 아니 지금 나 3년 안에 지금 촉시다. 지금 3년 안에 아니 변화 지금 녀도 차고 여대부터 주태디 그 녀도人心间 인대로 지금 3년 안에 문제 제가 있나? 아니 그게 녀도 차이도 전에 그 3년 안에 딱 거기 가서 그 뭐이네서 그 다가 레삼을 지금 3년 안에야 그 문제도 맞는데 그 여대도 전에 그 가르치네 그 강에도 태윤도 3로디 강에도 직벌에디 3로디 시다 구양을 여버 인도 그러면 3로디 해버지 땡대 용야를 샤.
However, if you are, on the other hand, equipped with some sort of equipped with a more internal facility or internal factor, for example, like having a certain outlook on life, where you have a deeper appreciation of the complexity and complexity of the nature of existence, and also and sense of contentment from within. And then also an appreciation of how complex every situation or every event is, the need for multiple causes and conditions, and the difficulty of aggregating such causes and conditions. Then when you face, even if you are facing the same kind of problem, because of these ways of thinking, these attitude that you have, you will be better equipped to cope with this situation, and then there will be a sense of ease or a sense of laid backness. You won't feel totally overwhelmed as if you might otherwise.
근데 이제 전에 최근에 축제들이 나라리야. 샘투는 대화레스. 샘머투는 대화 말레스.
Because of that, Buddha stated in the Dhammapada that when the mind is disciplined and calmed, it leads to happiness and joy. When the mind is untamed and undisciplined, it leads to suffering and pain.
However,
the difficult point is, how does one go about disciplining one's mind, bringing about that training or discipline?
And doctors medical
the ideal thing would be that the medical science would develop a technique which would assist the doctors to provide us this instant peace of mind or discipline. So far, that hasn't been possible. So the only choice that we are left with is to try to bring about that peace and disciplined state of mind simply by using a mental factor and mental state.
Dami jungo lo wan thoba jimba yina ene gom ge tengne ko juwa draji yong sibe xian ko korang ngöbu rengxin chen ji ze du rengxin chen ji gi ga so le pege gyen chung de ba di kora rig tu be ko ne se gu ya re da za be ne ga so phung ji ji le ten ne da phung ji so le da su phung da du ze le ten ne ge ten gi number 7 kora ngöbu gyo be ne go le ya kora rang za bo ji ga la kan so cha de do ga 저 da din de gi any yanchi mitiwa yotengedi koranda riktumbechi tene sitamado lugi da zedugi jangjang thone setuya khawresha.
Just as when you have physical illness which has physiological or biological base, which come about as a result of physical conditions and causes, needs to be cured and corrected by using methods and means which are compatible with it, using various substances, physical conditions, and so on, leaving aside the possibility of some highly realized meditators who may have gained complete control over their inner energies, in which case perhaps through mind one could control the biological and physiological states of the body. Otherwise, if the illness is physical, then the main method for its cure has to be physical. Similarly, in the case of the mental world, although there is in some sense a physiological base, but when you actually have the conscious thought, or be it emotion or perception, that actual phenomenological state of that consciousness is in the state of mere experience, and any malfunctioning, as it were, malfunctioning within that mental world has to be again cured or corrected by using predominantly mental means and mental factors.
So today in this ane sem jangda cha sa di kanda panda yode bi da ko shira nuba yode bi stand resha.
Therefore, training of the mind and bringing about discipline is not only very effective, but also it has great value and benefits.
Dan zambuli di gana bana chulu ene da kanda ben kaso le bi me kaso chusani me ja so da zo xie yi ben chu ju mon gu chu su ye ba de de zhe tie ge da chang ma lao kanda ji sem na lao le ya ji di ji zhe ya da ji sem na lao le da ji kaso le bi sem sang dong zhe ya de sem tu zhe ya ge ta xi da chang me cha yong yin ba de da chulu mang xie ji 대바 다지 대배 슈기 이 셈 투모 소야기 털랑 조 배지 가서다 땡기가 수도.
So we can say that all the major religious traditions of the world, they teach us various techniques and methods of training the mind and bringing about or enhancing the positive qualities of the mind, like compassion, love, forgiveness, and so on. And the difference is that some religious traditions of the world, in advocating such methodology, emphasize the cultivation of faith and belief as the foundation. And some other religious traditions have a different approach.
다 낭배 최근에 그런 시골 살아이나 대바디에 구구야래 니네 대바다 님돌이야 아니 시럽디 다 배주샤 시부지 개주샤 당자샤 실게 뭐다 신경을 실었어.
In Buddhism, however, the greater emphasis is placed on the application of the faculty of intelligence or wisdom. Although faith is important, but also along with the faith, there must also be the application of the faculty of intelligence or wisdom. And for developing such faculty and utilizing it, what is important is the use of analysis and reason and examination. So this and this prioritization of analysis, examination, and reason as a methodology in its spiritual path towards enlightenment, that methodology has a lot of parallels with the scientific methodology, where again analysis is very much emphasized. So there is a certain degree of compatibility. Of course, there will be a lot of differences between science and Buddhism, especially in the areas of initial motivation, and the objectives of science and Buddhism differs. However, in terms of actual methodology, there seems to be a basic similarity between the approaches, which is that at the initial stage, one must remain with openness or openness, healthy skepticism, and then as a result of analysis, one must develop one's own individual or personal understanding, and only after the development of such understanding through analysis, then one must accept something as real or true or valid.